Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you here on this Friday, talking to you about you and your business. I hope you have a great weekend planned, and glad that you're getting it started here on Friday with spending time with me and some great contributors and guests. And I'm delighted to start off with the one and only Paul Carroll. He's with a firm called Efficient Wealth Management. He's a regular on the program. I love his contribution to the show, and delighted as always to have you on. I love your firm, and I love your story. Tell us a little bit about that, and then introduce us to your guest today. By the way, efficientwealthmanagement.com. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, good morning, and thank you for that great introduction. Efficient Wealth Management is a boutique wealth management firm based here in the Woodlands, Texas. We essentially help our clients not only protect their wealth, but mitigate their taxes, take care of their heirs, protect their assets from being unjustly taken, and maximize the impact of charitable planning. Today we're talking with Louis Hess of the Hess Law Firm. He has an interesting story. He works with the expats that are coming out of Mexico and setting up, they're bringing a lot of wealth into the country with them, a lot of jobs, a lot of small businesses. Mexico's loss has turned into our gain, and I think it's a great story. So I'll hand this over to you, Kevin.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you on. Why don't you start off, Louis, by giving us your elevator speech, if you will.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you. As Paul had stated, my name is Louis Hess. I run a niche law firm here in the Woodlands, and we cater to the foreign national community, especially those from Latin America. And what we do is we try to take typically what's their immigration needs, because they're trying to leave for either business or personal reasons from Mexico or other parts of Latin America, and combine them with finding ways in which they can invest their money here in the U.S. in a way that protects their interests, while also trying to avoid any type of litigation that typically pops up. And the reason that coming to the U.S. is significantly different than their own countries is not only just culture but norms. Here in the U.S., we typically take everything on face value as it shows up in documents. What I found from my Latin American clients, especially those from Mexico, is that they oftentimes will accept a handshake to have the same type of effect as a written document. So trying to educate clients, trying to protect their investments, and trying to look ahead and see what can be done to avoid litigation is what my practice aims towards. And my practice consists of two different other employees, both of whom speak Spanish and are very good at, who have plenty of experience living and working in both Spain and Mexico.
Hey, Louis, by the way, we have a lot of questions, and so word economy is great. I know guys like you and me, we like to talk, but that's a fantastic story, though. Your question, Paul?
Well, what's driving the wave of Mexican nationals? Why? Why are so many coming into the Woodlands right now? Why? What's the percentage for them?
I would say it's one effect of both opportunity and safety. The first wave that the Woodlands experienced, I would say, from the mid-2000s to the last several years, there was concern that if you had wealth or any bit of wealth, you would be targeted by the different cartels. There are plenty of stories of families being threatened with kidnapping and having kidnapped and having, unfortunately, experienced death. And so it's caused families to move here and bring their wealth. The other aspect of it is that the U.S. has a lot of opportunity in terms of being able to build a business. Here in the U.S., it's significantly easy to set up an LLC and a corp within a day or 2 days. Most other Latin American countries, you're looking at several months. And so if you're looking simply from the point of obstacles to success, the U.S. has a lower threshold or lower barrier than its.
So in summary, you're saying they're coming here partly to flee dangers and partly because it's a great place to start a business. Is that right?
That is correct.
Great.
You know what I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I'm reading about them. Not only the Woodlands, but it seems like what Paul alluded to in his first question, particularly the Woodlands, and that's what I find so fascinating. Because I know there's a lot of geography in the state of Texas, and there's a lot of geography in Texas with similar friendly business environments. What is it distinctly about the Woodlands?
The Woodlands has the advantage that the airport's right here, right? George Bush International is right here, so it's easy to leave Mexico City, leave Monterrey, hop on a plane, be here in the area within a handful of hours. Two, the community is well planned in a way that you can live and work here versus other areas of Houston. For a quick example might be Sugar Land, Missouri City, that while it's laid out well, the aesthetics of the Woodlands certainly seems to beat other areas, and that seems to drive interest in this particular area. And I more than anything else, the state of Texas has done a very good job of promoting the state itself and Mexico and other countries. And from my interaction with other people who are realtors who go down to Mexico and promote buying a home, living here, the Woodlands seems to be a strong selling point for foreign nationals.
Very good. Paul?
That's very interesting. You could always say, well, why not spring? And correct me if I'm wrong, but even the Woodlands has promoted, or the Hughes Development Corporation has promoted the Woodlands in Mexico City. Is that correct?
That is correct. While I myself have never experienced it, I've heard from other clients that there are billboards, or were billboards in Mexico City saying, "Come to the Woodlands," and it's very explicit as to where to go, what to do, who you can contact. And I don't think I've seen or heard of any other areas around the Houston area that promote themselves in Mexico City.
So let me ask you, what is the
full... Go ahead, Paul.
I'm sorry. Do you expect the wave of expats to continue, or have we already hit the low-hanging fruit and this is going to slow down now?
From my experience, I think we're seeing a slowdown, and mainly because it seems that with the new presidency in Mexico, there seems to be a change in the amount of violence occurring in the state of Mexico. But I think you still will continue to see that be an issue that won't be resolved in a near-time future. So I still think you're going to see a drive of Mexican nationals to move to the Woodlands. But at the same time, the U.S. will continue to stand out as a place to invest, a place that's safe with money. And I'll give you a very good example. I have a client of mine from Uruguay, and they tend to deal with cattle, and a lot of their business is driven by Argentinians. And as we know, with the issues and restrictions with currency flow from Argentina, they're finding themselves in a predicament where it's no longer as lucrative to be in the cattle business, and looking to the U.S., especially Texas, as being a friendlier place where there are not issues, not necessarily of violence, but of currency and economic restrictions as they are experiencing with Uruguay in relationship to their Argentinian investors.
I have to come to a close. I'm sorry, but it was very interesting, and I think people who are interested in what's going on should look you up and learn more about you. LewisHessLaw.com. That's LuisHess Law.com. Lewis, thanks so much for being with us. And Paul Carroll, he's a regular here on the program, and you can tell why. As usual, a fantastic interview. And he's with EfficientWealthManagement.com. Thanks so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Great stuff, as always. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here does show up over there at USCablReview.com.